leaves USC, they struggle to beat Arizona. Just a comment. I don't want to get into it.
It must be coaching. Huh?
Tony Gonzalez, 14-time Pro Bowler. 13 or 14, I forget. Who can remember? So I want to ask you. You're an offensive guy. Colts go for it on fourth down. Gutsy, because there's not a lot of time left. And if you don't get it, Texans have to make one first down. They win with a field goal, which they did. Like it, don't like it.
If I'm on that team, I like it. I love it. Because you don't want to tie. And Coach Frank, it's his first year there. He's got some time. I think he can afford to do this. Now, if you're on the hot seat or something like that and you make a decision like this, you might be gone.
Right.
But I like it. I think it's a gutsy call if it makes it, and it's like, how could you? What were you thinking? And Andrew Luck, he's looking really good.
No, he's got an offensive coach now.
Is he back to that? You know, he's ascending again. He's going to be back in that top 5 elite quarterback in the NFL.
When I watched him when I watched him in the second half yesterday, and my takeaway was, even in this offensive league, there's not a lot of guys that can mow up and down the field like that.
Yeah.
Now, when he's hot, but for the record, outside of T.Y. Hilton, Tony, they don't have a lot to work with.
No.
It's not a great O-line. He doesn't have much of a running game. They have one go-to receiver. Andrew Luck's really good. I don't know why. He's a little nerdy, got his book club. I don't know why there's so much pushback. Like, what part of Andrew Luck do people not get? I've never understood it.
I've never felt that way.
No, everybody I know in the NFL is like, oh, God, he's fantastic.
Yeah.
He's the only quarterback in the league that's really good, and everybody knows he's good in the league and gets pushback.
Yeah.
Nobody pushes back Derek Carr. I mean, God, Patrick Mahomes has been good for an hour. Everybody's on board.
Yeah.
Andrew Luck's put up huge numbers. So against yesterday, he's 40 of 62, 109 quarterback rating, 464 yards. That's with an average O-line, one wide receiving weapon, and just kind of meh running backs.
You know what it is? It's because he's so vanilla.
I think that's it.
It's vanilla.
There's nothing to grab onto.
Nothing, especially in this day and age. There's no tape of him doing something. There's no dancing. There's no hot. After the game, he's not getting heated. He's just always complimenting everybody. He's just a nice guy. Can we believe that we don't like nice people? That's what it is.
That's why I struggle in society. So let me guess. You love Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
4 turnover Baker Mayfield.
You know who he reminds me of, Colin, and bear with me. He reminds me of Brett Favre. There was a tape. We were doing a halftime little highlight film, and there was a slant he threw, and he did that little underarm. And then you saw the game yesterday. Someone scored a touchdown, and he's running down there. He's got the tape dancing. Like you said it in the pregame show, this kid is a star.
He is a star.
He's a star.
No question. He's a star.
So much fun. He's just fun and slings it and can play. He's a good player.
I prefer Sam Darnold, but Baker right now is way more fun to watch because Hugh Jackson, here's another thing. Hugh's letting him sling it.
Yeah.
I mean, Josh Allen's got defensive coaches. Josh Rosen is a defensive coach. Sam Darnold is a defensive coach. They're not as creative offensive coaches. Who were your head coaches? You had Vermeil, Herm. So Herm was a defensive coach. Was Vermeil an offensive coach?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, my takeaway is Baker's got – everybody wants to run Hugh Jackson out of town. I watch he and Haley. That's a fun offense.
It's going to be – and this is what Brett Favre was. Brett Favre was fun, and he's going to take chances, and he threw interceptions, especially when he was younger. And I think this kid, he's going to evolve. It's his first start. But he's going to be a star. If he doesn't get hurt, he's going to be a lot of fun to watch. He's that – remember Brett Favre, how much fun he used to have, became a star because of it.
You know what's funny about that, too, is that we tend to overlook the flaws of people we like. And I'll give you an example. So Michael Jordan was the first guy, that Nike campaign was the first big global shoe campaign. If you go look at Michael's life, I'm not even going to get into a lot of – he quit twice. He punched teammates. He had a petty Hall of Fame speech. Michael had some, we found later, gambling. There's infidelity. It's not a perfect, I'm not saying he's a terrible human, but I'm saying none of it penetrates the force field of his popularity.
Yeah.
Because he was the first, Michael Jordan was the first athlete that had this incredible global shoe campaign. Mars Blackman, Spike Lee.
Yeah.
Once you're popular, Brett Favre was absurdly popular.
Yeah.
He's the all-time interception leader, often threw horrible interceptions in huge games. But he said, y'all, He was a good old country boy.
Yeah.
You liked Brett. He wore Wranglers.
Yeah.
He went to Walmart.
He'd jump on teammates' backs, and I remember I played with him in the Tokyo Bowl. He was out there with the little megaphone, like at practice, yelling and screaming. And this is when I first got in my second year in the league. I remember after a game when he was playing for the Minnesota Vikings. Remember American Idol?
Yes.
Remember how some of the contestants come in there and make up silly songs and all that stuff? Remember the one, pants on the ground, looking like a fool. Which I remember after a game. They go, Brett Favre, player of the game in Minnesota, and he gets up there and he starts chanting that. Instead of saying, hey, good job, guys, or whatever, after the game, they just won the game, and he starts doing it, and the whole team is doing it with him. He's just fun.
Yeah.
And we see that, and we're like, I love that guy.
That is where Baker Mayfield, we're going to give him a pass because, let's be honest, the Browns are the Chicago Cubs of the NFL, pretty low standards. If he goes 7-9, 8-8, we're going to love him. We're going to love him, and he's running around. He's a little smaller. He's got a little flaw to him, and he's a little guy. I agree with you there. So tonight's the Chiefs and the Broncos. And you played in this division for years. This is a weird division.
Yeah.
I think Denver's going to win tonight.
Yeah.
Denver's a tough place to play early in the year. And I don't know why it is, but if you go look at the Denver Broncos the last 20 years in September, almost impossible to beat at home. Is it because teams aren't in great shape in the altitude? Did you ever win in Denver?
Hardly ever won. Hardly. Yeah, and that altitude is real.
It is real.
Yeah, they put it up in the locker room, in the opposing team, the visiting locker room. They're like, altitude, be careful, all that stuff to get in your head a little bit. Absolutely, it's in there. And you find yourself like stinging when you breathe out there. So that's a little bit of an advantage for him.
So this will be Patrick Mahomes' toughest test.
Mm-hmm.
So, we watch a lot of football over the course of the weekend. Tell me something to look for tonight. You'll look for as a guy that's a 14-time Pro Bowler. What do you change? What makes him different?
What makes him different is right now. I think what's surprising everybody is he's not making bonehead decisions. He's not throwing interceptions. Obviously, he doesn't have one on the season, and that's really surprising. I thought for sure. I knew he was going to put up big numbers. He was going to be a spectacular player, but I didn't know he was going to be that great with the football and not turning it over. But tonight, remember Fitzmagic. The Magic ran out this weekend.
Yeah.
They're
by the
ready
way,
for him.
Von Miller tonight. Bradley Chubb tonight.
Yes.
You're on the road in Denver, which is one of the better home field advantages. And this will be fun. He is, speaking of Brett Favre, there's a little bit of Brett Favre with his arm.
Yes, absolutely. And he does remind me of Brett Favre, too. I think him and Baker both remind me. That sling it mentality, they do seem like they're having a lot of fun out there. But right now you can't make that comparison. Can he keep this up? I mean, everybody wants to go out there and see the circus. This is the circus is coming. This is the most fun offense to watch in the NFL. Them and the the Los Angeles Rams.
Yeah, no,
a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's just different. The game is so offensive minded now. I think it's 6 of the 8 division leaders are offensive coaches. A lot of the second place teams are offensive coaches. Gruden's done very well with Derek Carr. Frank Reich with Andrew Luck. Norv Turner lands with Cam's efficiency numbers. Even Eli's efficiency numbers are up. I was saying earlier that you have to be careful, though. I mean, nothing against Andy Dalton, but some of these numbers feel so inflated. When Mitch Trubisky's throwing for 6 touchdowns. So go back to your first 3 to 4 years in the league to give people a sense of how the rules have changed.
Oh, my
when
goodness.
you came off the line, how long could I grab you? Where could you be hit? When you look at the game today, take me back to your first couple years in the league. What is the change?
First of all, they could just hold you and maul you at the line of scrimmage. We had 2 safeties, James Hasty and Dale Carter. Both were all pros my rookie year. And they would just grab people, literally, and throw them down. And you could do this pretty illegally. So, and then for me, I was going against a guy named Bill Romanowski.
Oh, good Lord.
And Bill Romanowski used to, that first year, the first 2 years I was in the league, he played for Denver at the time. And literally, he would line up over me and literally bear hug me. And he's strong. He was on the juice. Got cocktail.
Yeah.
So
not apple juice, by the way. He was on juice.
He got the juice. So what we did is, and this is the reason why I kind of evolved this whole tight ends being split out. They never did that before. That wasn't that common. So when they would take me, they'd be like, okay, we go against Bill Romanowski, we're going to split you out and get him in space because he's just grabbing you and I couldn't get open. That's all there was to it because the rules would let him just, and then the quarterback's coming right off you where I can get him in space. And that's why I became that flex tight end.
Did you ever go in motion too?
We'd start coming in motion a lot and then they start splitting me out there and say, all right, you want to do that. You're going to be one-on-one with Tony. And I would kill him. I'd kill him after that second year in the league. But this is what the NFL wants. This is the direction the NFL is going. They love these high-scoring 40 to 38 games.
Yeah.
And they're going to want all those passing yards that Dan Marino and even Peyton. They're all going down. They're all those yards and records, efficiency. It's all going to disappear with this new league. It's a vastly different league.
Do you like? I like watching it more.
Mm-hmm.
I like watching football more like this.
They love the long ball.
I like to watch skill play. It's like hockey. They took away clutching and grabbing. Hockey was more fun to watch because Lindros can be a star, and Ovechkin can be a star, and Sidney Crosby can be a star. I don't want to watch 0-0. I want to see 32-29.
And what about baseball, the World Series? I mean, when they were hitting all those home runs, all those dongers, everybody's like, "This is the best thing ever."
Yeah.
When baseball was dying, when McGuire and Sammy Sosa came in and started hitting those home runs. I mean, baseball, just skyrocketed back off.
Plus, fantasy sports now is such a big component to sports. You're rewarding fans at home.
Yeah, we'd like more points, please.
You want more points.
More points.
Yeah. Thanks, Tony. Tony Gonzalez. Joy Taylor with the news.
No. Turn on the news. This is the Herd Line News.
All right, so big loss for the Seahawks yesterday, excuse me, as Earl Thomas has a broken left leg.
Yeah.
He was being carted off the field and appeared to give the middle finger to the Seahawks sideline.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a message that, to the franchise pretty much sums up his contract dispute. We are assuming that that's what's happening here. Well, Le'Veon Bell caught the gesture, and obviously Bell still has his holdout going on.
Yeah.
And in an Instagram comment on a quote from Thomas's teammate Bobby Wagner, Bell said, he was agreeing with Bobby Wagner. Bobby Wagner says if he doesn't come, then he's not a team player. If he does come and gets hurt, then he shouldn't have came. If I was him, I'd be pissed off. Basically saying he understands why Earl Thomas is upset. And Le'Veon Bell said, shaking my head, exactly, get right, bro, and tagged Earl Thomas. I'll continue to be the bad guy for all of us.
There's an old saying, there's never the right time to do the wrong thing. There's never an excuse to give the finger on national TV. I just don't think there's a right time to do that.
Here's the thing I struggle with. It's kind of the same thing when people were really upset with Cam Newton after the Super Bowl, his reaction in the press conference. And it's like I try to remember that these guys are human.
But let me defend Cam, though. In Cam's defense, that was a post-game locker room. It's not on TV. If the camera shows something the next day to me, the press, that's different.
No. I'm talking about how he reacted in the press conference.
Yeah, I didn't love it, but this is being carted off the field with the cameras on you?
Look, I think that this is an emotional moment. I mean, he has a broken left leg. He had a whole troubled off season with his contract dispute with the Seahawks for this reason. If he used to get injured, he wants more money for what he does. And I don't like to count people's money, especially when it comes to professional athletes, because there's a scale for everything that you make. Like if you want to get into a business that makes a lot of money and you're super smart, maybe be a doctor, because doctors make lots of money.
Yeah.
But you're going to have to make sacrifices to become a doctor.
Right.
So there's sacrifices and a balance to everything in this world, and I think that that's a very emotional moment. His body is his job, and his body is now damaged. So he's in an emotional state. I'm just saying, sometimes you get upset and you give someone the finger.
I am very emotional right now. I'm not giving the bird to somebody.
Well, your leg isn't broken.
If I have a ski accident,
that's not equivalent. You can still do your job with a broken leg. Your voice is still working.
So if my voice went out in this second, I should just give the bird.
I mean, if you've been trying to go through a contract dispute with Fox and they've been holding out on you, then maybe you will.
At some point, as a grown man, like you ever gotten the bird flipped you in traffic? And my takeaway is,
yes.
You're 42. Grow up, you idiot.
Well, I think it's it's kind of funny. Like, ooh, you got me. But I'm just saying he's in an emotional state. I just try to be defensive because, people get emotional when they're when they get hurt. All right, so finally, the Bengals have won 3 of their first 4 games, including yesterday's comeback win in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Andy Dalton hit A.J. Green in the end zone to cap a 16-play, 75-yard drive with 6 seconds left. And Andy Dalton told Albert Breer that was a revealing moment for the team. He said it shows what we can do. There are different ways to win games. If we have to drive down at the end of the game to win it, we can do it. 16 plays, our guys were gassed at the end, and they fought through it. When we needed to make a play, we did. It shows a lot.
Yeah,
what do you
nice.
think of the Bengals?
I don't trust them in a big spot, but they have a good roster, and Dalton's obviously got a great wide receiver, a good tight end, nice backs, protection. It's one of those teams that I don't trust in a big spot, but it's a good football team. It's a very good roster. It's a very good roster. They can win a bunch of games. They're just not going to win any in January.
Just don't trust them in the big games?
Yeah.
Well, finally, sticking with that game, typically you are what your record says you are,
Yeah.
but Dan Quinn doesn't think that applies to this team.
Right.
At the end of the day, we have to get these moments right. Through our first quarter of the season, our record doesn't show that we have that part down, so we've got work to do. We're a good team, and our record doesn't show it at this point.
You're a little disappointed in the Falcons?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but they've also had 3 starters defensively out for the year, 4 total. But they're kind of one of those teams where, you know, and if you look at their last 5 losses, they're all like, the play is there to be made, and they can't make the play. That's what it comes down to with them, and it feels like that even in the Super Bowl. That is the history of their franchise. Close, but no cigar.
Yeah, and I'm not a big moral victory person. Like, at the end of the day, that little extra play or that spot that you have to be big in, that's the difference. That's the difference between winning and losing. That's what you play for. You're not like, oh, yeah, well, we lost the game, but we only lost by like 3 points, so we kind of won. Like, no, you either win or you lose. And making the play in that big spot is what separates the winners and losers. So, you got to win those games.
Joy Taylor with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping